Hello and welcome to PELWELL's Mobility Flow. Today we're going to focus on opening the hips, the shoulders, the wrists, and the ankles. We're going to start today's flow in a seated position, so that can be crisscross, legs extended, or maybe even on the heels. Find whatever sit is most comfortable for you. As you find yourself sitting, start to connect with the breath, taking nice deep inhales and exhales through the nose, letting the belly expand and collapse with each breath. Slowly inhale, reach the right arm overhead, and then as you exhale, extend it to the left side of the room, expanding through the right side of the body, keeping the hips nice and squared onto the floor or onto the heels depending on your sit. Your gaze can either be down at the floor or up towards the inside of the elbow, whichever feels most comfortable for your neck. Take in one more deep inhale. And then as you exhale, gently cartwheel over to the other side, extending through the left side of your body. Finding that expansion through the ribs. Inhale, reach both arms overhead and let your gaze come up towards the hands. Exhale, cactus shape the arms open so you're extending through the chest, popping the ribs. And then rounding the spine, bring everything towards the center of the body, scooping the abdominals up and in towards the spine. Inhale again, open back to that cactus shape, lifting the chest, lifting the heart towards the sky. And then exhale, round the spine, pulling everything back to center. From here, slowly work your way into a tabletop or an all-fours position, and we're going to flow through cat-cow. So as you exhale, round the spine, pulling the abdominals in, pressing the floor away. And then as you inhale, start to take the gaze forward, pressing the belly button down towards the floor, finding that micro back bend. Exhale again, rounding the spine, scooping everything up and in, pressing the floor away. Inhale back to cow. Finding that expansion and that length through the body. Come into a nice neutral spine. Rotate the right wrist so the fingertips are facing the knee. Slight bend in the elbow. From here, take a cat-cow, rounding the spine on the exhale, and then on the inhale, finding that length as you feel the opening through the wrist and the forearm on the right side. Coming to your neutral spine, slowly start to move the body in a circular motion, really mobilizing through the wrists, keeping the entire hand connected with the floor. And when it feels like a good place to stop, go ahead and change directions, moving your circle in a different way. Keep pressing the floor away through both hands, keeping your spine nice and long and neutral. Slowly come back to center. Release the right hand back to neutral and extend the right foot out towards the right side of the room, keeping the arch in the same plane as the left knee. Sit the hips back, keeping the arms where they are so you're finding that extension and that length. And then inhale, pull yourself back forward, letting the shoulders drift past the fingers. And then find yourself just flowing between the sit back and the pulling forward, really starting to warm up through the hip and finding that mobilization through the hip flexor. Staying connected with that breath. Good tabletop position. Take in a nice breath here. Float the right knee from the floor. Keeping it bent at a 90-degree, press the foot up towards the ceiling. Without bending or leaning into that left arm, sweep the leg so the shin bone lines up with the right side of your room, and then lower it back down to start. Start moving the leg in that motion, so the foot up towards the ceiling, rotate from the hip so the shin faces the side wall, and then back to start. Keeping the weight pressed evenly between the hands, so we're not leaning into the left side, we're not bending the left elbow. So if you feel like you have to lean to the left, just shorten your range of motion. Stay within your mobility. And then we're going to change that up. So now take the right leg out to the side first, then up towards the ceiling, and then back down to its starting position. So the same movement, but in a different flow. Stay connected with that breath and really focus and feel the hips starting to move. Release it back to center. Come into your tabletop position. Take one cat-cow, rounding the spine, pulling everything in, giving the hips a little break. And then inhale, find that length. Take your gaze forward, micro back bend. And then come back to your neutral spine. Moving into the left side, gently rotate the hand so the fingertips are towards the knees. Slight bend in that elbow. Keeping the wrists in the same plane, take that cat-cow here, pressing the floor away, opening the wrist and the forearm. Taking another cat-cow, pressing the floor away. And then inhale, take the gaze forward. Come back to your neutral spine and then start to move the body in that circular motion, making sure the entirety of the hand and the palm stays connected with the floor. About 3 to 5 times one way, and then when it feels like a comfortable place to stop and change direction, go ahead and do so. Focus on that connection between your hands and the floor. Feel the opening through the wrist and the forearm, and come back to center. Release the left hand back to neutral. Extend the left foot out to the side so the arch lines up with the right knee. And just like we did on the right side, we're gently going to sit back and then pull ourselves back forward. So the hips drive back towards the heel. Keep the hands planted. And then as you come forward, let the shoulders just go slightly past the fingertips. Stay nice and connected with that breath. Slowly come back to center. Turn the left foot off at a 45-degree angle. Bend the knee. And we're going to move through the hip in a circular motion. So keep the entire hands connected with the floor. Circling the entire body as you bend the knee and then find length through the leg. Again, 3 to 4 or 5 on one side. And then when it feels comfortable, change directions. Slowly bring it back to center. Realign the left foot forward so the 5 toes are facing the front. Power through the strength as you float that foot, keeping the arch in line with the right knee. Keeping the arms straight as you sweep the leg back, moving from the hip. So trying to stay in the same plane, not letting the leg lift and fall too much. Powering strong through the right arm, so try not to bend that arm or lean too much into that side, but really focus on the hips here. Slowly bring the leg back in. Make any adjustments you need. Flexing the left foot, we're going to take the foot up towards the ceiling, keeping that 90-degree bend in the knee. So take your inhale, and as you exhale, rise that leg up. Open the leg towards the side wall, moving and mobilizing from the hip socket, and then bring it back to its starting position. And then just flow through that as you can feel the hip really opening and mobilizing. Stay connected with the breath and keep pressing hard through the hands, so we're not bending the right arm rather, or leaning into that side. And then switch the direction, so now the leg goes out to the side wall, up towards the ceiling, and then back down to its starting position. Nice and easy circular motion through that hip. And slowly release back to center. Coming into your tabletop, flow through cat-cow, rounding the spine. And then inhale, find that length, take your gaze forward. Walk the hands forward about 12 inches and then shift the body with you so the chest falls between the hands. You're on your knees, your chest and your chin, but your belly is lifted from the mat. So you're opening through the lower back and finding that extension, and then slide yourself forward so the belly makes contact with the mat. Tenting the fingers towards the wide edges of your mat, pull the elbows forward so they're in line with the shoulders. Pressing through the finger pads, through the thighs and through the tops of the toes, round your spine as you pull yourself up, taking the gaze forward. And then unravel yourself back down onto the belly. Again, press through the finger pads, lift yourself all the way up, and then unravel back down towards the floor. Keeping the elbows pulling forward, so you really feel the strength through the shoulders. Bring the hands flat to the floor, so untent the fingers. Press yourself all the way up. Bending the right elbow, we're going to lower onto the right shoulder and cheek as we take our gaze to the left, really mobilizing and opening through the right shoulder. Inhale, lift back up, and exhale onto the left shoulder and cheek, taking your gaze to the right. Keep pressing through the tops of the thighs, the shoeless part of the foot, and the hands as you flow up and then side to side, trying to make contact shoulder to floor. If it doesn't quite get there, that's okay. Stay within your range of motion and your mobility. Nice breath. Rise back up to the center, pressing the floor away, and then unravel down center. Bring the right hand under the chest and then the left as well. Press yourself up and back into tabletop and then through to down dog. Find that connection to the floor and take some free movement here, bending the knees, or maybe twisting the hips or the shoulders, whatever feels really good for your body. Find your breath and stay connected. Take the gaze forward between the hands. And then reach your right arm to the outside of your left calf as you take the gaze under the left arm, finding length through the right side of your body. Powering through that left hand, staying strong. Slowly release the right hand back to the floor. Now take the left hand to the outside of your right leg and then take the gaze under the right arm. Again, finding that length and that strength through the right side. Release the left hand back to the floor. Take a nice deep breath here in your down dog. As you inhale, take the right foot up to the sky. Exhale, bend the knee, let the heel fall behind the left hip as you open your hips to the right side of the room. Realign the right foot back towards the floor, hips are square. Take the gaze forward as you sweep the right foot all the way through to pigeon, staying up on the hands, keeping the left leg lifted and the toes tucked under. Find your breath. Nice deep inhale and exhale in this pigeon pose. And then inhale, reach the right leg back, three-legged dog. Exhale, sweep it back through to pigeon. Taking the gaze forward. Lift up the sits bones high to the sky, pressing through the outside edge of the right foot, pulling the abdominals in and letting the chin come towards the chest. Staying connected with your breath here. As you open the shoulders and the hips, slowly release back down to the floor. And step your right foot back to down dog. Inhale the left leg up high towards the sky. Bending that knee, let the heel fall behind the right hip as you open your hips to the left side of the room. Realign the hips square. And then step the left foot all the way through to pigeon, staying up on the hands, keeping the right toes curled under so the leg is floating from the floor, finding that opening through the hip. And then inhale, sweep the left leg back to three-legged dog. Exhale, sweep it back through to pigeon. Press hard through the palms and get ready to lift up onto the outside edge of the left foot as you sit your sits bones to the sky, opening through the ankle, the hips, and the shoulders. Keeping the right toes facing forward, so don't let that foot drop off. Stay connected with your breath and then slowly release back down towards the floor. Step the left foot back to down dog. Reconnect with your breath here. Inhale, reach the right foot up high to the sky. Exhale, step the right foot to the outside of your right hand. Stay strong and powerful through the legs. See if you can make a connection with the right arm and the right leg, and then lift your right arm up as we slowly lower the right forearm towards the floor, and then inhale, reach it up high to the sky. Again, lower the forearm as close to the floor as you can get it. Maybe you make contact, maybe not, but stay within your range of motion as we move through the hips and the shoulders. Keep flowing through those two moves with your breath. And then release the right hand back down towards the floor. Step the right foot back, down dog. Inhale, left leg up high to the sky, three-legged dog. Exhale, step it to the outside of the left hand. Find that connection between the left arm and the left leg. Bringing that left arm up, lower the forearm towards the floor. And then extend it up to the sky as you open the chest. Really feel the hips opening and engaging as you stay in this lower body position. Stay nice and connected with your breath. Slowly release the left hand back and step back into down dog. Round the spine as you pull yourself forward into plank. Laying the crown of the head, pull forward to the front of the room. Shift the weight onto the tippy toes so the shoulders are past the fingers, and then slowly lower yourself all the way down onto your belly. Untuck the toes. Extend your left arm towards the left side of the room, keeping the right hand under the shoulder. And then bending the right knee, gently roll onto the left side of your body into scorpion as you feel the stretch through your left shoulder. And if your right foot can't make contact with the floor, that's fine. Just go into the stretch as deeply as you can to feel that stretch through the shoulder. Making sure the left arm stays in line with the shoulder and it's not back towards the ribs. Slowly unravel back onto the belly. Bring the left arm in and extend the right arm out. Bending the left knee this time. Slowly roll onto your right hip so the left foot comes to the floor. Keep the entirety of your right arm connected with the mat, making sure there's no lifts in any part of that arm as you open up the shoulder. And slowly roll back onto the belly. Bring the right hand back in under the shoulder. Inhale, slowly lift yourself up and back into child's pose, leaving the arms extended so you're finding length through the upper body, feeling the lats and the upper back. Roll the hands onto the pinkies so the palms are facing each other, and then moving from the shoulder socket, let them come to the back of the mat. Slowly roll back onto the pinkies, and then release the hands back down flat to the floor. Roll onto your thumbs now so the palms are facing away. And then again from the shoulders, keep rotating to get the back of the palms to the mat, or as close as you can with your shoulder mobility. Slowly release back onto the thumbs and then back onto the hands. Take a nice deep breath here and slowly start to unravel yourself up to sit, finding yourself in a comfortable seated position. Extend your right arm out, palms away from you. Using your left hand to grab the fingers, gently pull them back to open up the wrist and the forearm. Relax the shoulders, making sure we're not adding tension in the upper body. Stay connected with your breath. Slowly release. And switch sides. So now the left arm extends, fingertips towards the floor, palm pressed away, and the right hand gently pulls the fingertips back. So you're really finding that stretch through the wrist and through the forearm. Slowly release and roll onto the hands and feet, or knees rather. Take the knees out wide, like to the widest edge of your mat. Keep the ankles and the feet in line with the knees, so don't let the big toes come together. As you set yourself up into frog, we're going to shift the weight back as far as you can with your hip flexors allowing for your range of motion. Stay up on the hands if that feels good, or if you can, slowly start to work onto the forearms, feeling that stretch right where the leg and the hip come together. If you feel like your ankles are rolling in towards each other, keep pressing the feet to the outside edges of your mat. Breathe through this hip stretch. Relaxing the shoulders, slowly shift the weight forward and then press yourself back up onto the hands if you are on the forearms. Step the right foot to the outside of the right hand. Extending through the left hip. Shift the weight forward slightly. Stay connected with your breath and just let the left hip kind of open up as it falls towards the floor. Slowly bring the right leg back and place the shin along the left calf. We're going to do a little self-myofascial release, so sit the hips back and then pull yourself forward. The right shin is pressing into the mid-left calf, but you might need to adjust it, sliding it down or pulling it forward, depending on where you need the most decompression. The more you sit back onto that heel, the more weight you put into it, the more you're going to decompress that muscle. On the next one, sit the hips all the way back. Stay with your breath, relaxing the upper body. This should feel as if you were foam rolling. So you feel that intensity, that pressure as you sit into it. But we're also releasing any buildup in that muscle. Slowly pull yourself back forward and release back to tabletop. Step your left foot to the outside of the left hand, extending the right leg back. Pulling yourself slightly more forward so you can really open up the right hip. Find the connection with your breath. Relaxing the shoulders and relaxing the upper back. And then take the left shin onto the right calf, and again, gently just shift the weight back and forward. Keeping the hands exactly where they are and using them to push yourself back and to pull yourself forward. Feel free to make any adjustments, placing that shin on a different part of the calf muscle. On the next one, sit back and hold, breathe, sink into it, putting as much weight into it as you can handle. Stay connected with your breath. Slowly pull yourself back forward, releasing back into your tabletop. Walk the knees behind the wrist to slowly open yourself up into pigeon on the right side. And this time, feel free just to drape yourself over that front shin, relaxing into it. Maybe you lower onto the forearms, maybe you lower onto the belly, or maybe you even stay up on the hands, whatever feels best for your hips. Feel free to bring any blocks into the equation if you need a little support through the hips. Just allow yourself to sink into this. You opened up your hips so much in today's class. Just let them stretch and relax. Stay with your breath. Slowly start to walk yourself back up. Tucking the back toe under, lift that leg and step the right foot back. Switching sides, so bringing that left knee behind the wrist. Releasing the right leg, letting it melt down, and then mirror whatever you did on the other side as you sink into your half pigeon. Just sink into the earth beneath you and stay connected with your breath. Slowly work yourself back up. Slide the back leg all the way up to the front so you can have a seat. Take the right leg in front of the left thigh, and then gently hug the right knee into the chest as you take your gaze over the right shoulder, finding this gentle spinal twist. Keep the right foot flat onto the floor. Keep both hips connected with the mat. Slowly come forward, and switching sides, bring the right arm to the inside of that right knee and gently gaze over the left shoulder. Slowly unravel, coming back to center. Gently just switch the legs. And now hug the left knee with the right arm and take your gaze over the left shoulder. Again, keeping the hips connected with the mat. Twisting from the mid back and staying connected with your breath. Slowly release, coming back to center and going to the opposite side. So the left arm comes to the inside of the left knee and take your gaze over the right. Slowly come back to center. From here, extend your legs out long, grabbing behind the legs. As you roll all the way onto your back, gently hug the right knee into the chest. Keeping the lower back connected with the floor, extend the right leg and hug the left knee into the chest. Stay connected with your breathing and just relax into the earth beneath you. Extend the left leg out long. Let your legs fall off to the sides. And let your arms come to rest down by your side. Take in some nice deep breaths and let every part of you just sink into the mat beneath you. You did such a good job on your mobility flow today. Allow this moment for stillness and rest. Slowly start to reawaken your body. Take in some nice deep inhales and exhales. Let the belly rise as you inhale and collapse as you exhale. Start to add in some movement, wiggling fingers and toes or circling wrists and ankles. Bring both hands to your heart. Thank you for joining me for my mobility flow today. Be well.